I'm reading headlines. Walmart shuts down agentic commerce with OpenAI. Walmart dumps OpenAI. Walmart and OpenAI are shaking up the market of agentic shopping. Walmart fires OpenAI in a strategic move. Headlines, what headlines? What does this mean for banks and why banks should care? Banks should care because they are selling products, investment products, credit products, insurance products, savings products, all sorts of products. So the question, of course, has become, are they discoverable by the LLM platforms, ChatGPT and the likes? But beyond that, the Walmart case is a perfect example that shows that there's different ways, different models for banks, fintechs, and insurance companies to position themselves in this market. So I want to walk you through what Walmart did and why, and what that means for the different choices that banks have in terms of positioning themselves. So first of all, Walmart, I would call them a fintech player for several reasons, but more importantly, they have been an early pioneer in generative AI capabilities. Back in 2021, they had developed a pretty sophisticated framework of autonomous agents negotiating with some of their suppliers, what they call their long tail suppliers, like those that provide them shopping carts or store equipment. And these are low value but high volume negotiations that were happening before with humans. And Walmart developed a very sophisticated agentic framework that dealt with this in a very successful way. So that left the humans looking at low volume but high value negotiation deals. Last year, Walmart in 2025 launched what looks like a GenAI powered ecosystem, and it has three main components. There is Wiley, optimizing store inventory. There is Marty, that is streamlining procurement and is linked to Sparky because it makes sure that Sparky's shelves are stocked, and Sparky is the customer-facing part of the generative AI ecosystem of Walmart, where you can go and ask Sparky. Now, up until now, Walmart had a deal with OpenAI for what is called an instant checkout. And apparently, it really didn't go well. The conversion rates were disappointing. About a third, around 30% of discoveries through the instant checkout never converted. So very low conversion. And let's not forget that Walmart has a very broad variety of products. What was the problem? Problem was not a customer behavior problem. It was a data infrastructure problem. Why? Because OpenAI was scrapping Walmart's website with all the data that was needed, like stock levels, delivery times, the updated pricing, and all of those were inaccurate. So it was a data infrastructure failure. And what did Walmart decide to do? Instead of giving up and saying, hey, agentic commerce doesn't work, they changed the model entirely. And they did what I call another way of embedding their capabilities. Right now, Walmart has its own Sparky chatbot embedded into ChatGPT, and next month, it's going to do the same thing with Gemini. So that way, customers that go to ChatGPT or to Gemini have actually access to real-time inventory data and Walmart's checkout logic. The role of ChatGPT and Gemini is clearly distribution, but Walmart controls everything else. And the early statistics from this shift show a huge improvement in convergence rates. So when Sparky is inside ChatGPT, the conversion from 30% goes up to 70%, so more than double. So what does this mean for the different options that banks have? So a big bank with complex products and a variety of products, the JP Morgans maybe of the world, right, could choose this type of model. What does this model mean? This means that you have the resources, you have the proprietary data, you have the customer trust, you have the technical capability to build your own agent. So it's a branded agent. And you just tap into the ChatGPTs and the Geminis of the world for distribution. But you control the data, the transaction, and the customer. That is what Walmart did with Sparky. Another way to do this is completely different, where the platform, like ChatGPT and Gemini, owns the transaction. And that makes sense for smaller players that don't have a huge variety of inventory, and maybe they don't have the technical ability to build their own chatbot. And there you're going to leverage the ACP instant checkout that's powered by Stripe. And we have players that use this approach like Etsy and DoorDash. Some banks should consider that. Then we have the closed system approach. Best example is Amazon. If you're at that scale, you not only want to own everything, you want to block everybody. So you block Perplexity, Amazon sued Perplexity, and you block that distribution channel because you want to keep, in the case of Amazon, the advertising business and protect it. Are there banks that could or should follow this? It's an open question. And the last model, we said the branded own agent a la Walmart, where you rent distribution. We mentioned the closed model a la Amazon. We mentioned the platform-owned checkout, the instant checkout by Stripe, and that is a play that Stripe is very much interested in and makes sense. And then there's the open protocol idea or model with no single owner. And there, think of what Google has developed with Shopify. It's the UCP, the Universal Commercial Protocol, that governs the journey of discovery and fulfillment and so on. And both Walmart and Target are using UCP via Gemini, and Klarna has joined UCP. The bet here is different. It's that there's going to be an open standard, and that will ensure that there isn't a new Amazon. This is a different bet or positioning where you believe that open standards prevail. There won't be a dominant AI platform becoming the new Amazon. So you're betting that won't be the case, and you want to adopt this open standard. So which model will financial institutions choose when AI agents are selecting and purchasing financial products on behalf of the customers? Will it be the brand-owned agent model with rented distribution a la Walmart? Will it be the platform-owned checkout, instant checkout on the Geminis and the OpenAIs of the world? Will it be a closed ecosystem from a very large player, or the open protocol approach, or a combination? Because as you see, there are several players that are positioning themselves on more than one model. So the question becomes, which model will each bank, each insurer, each fintech choose? And the other question becomes whether banks move fast enough before fintechs or AI platforms fill this gap. The agentic economy is reshaping finance. Agentic commerce is a leading indicator for financial services